Alright, so do we want to do a recap?
Yeah, so
yes, definitely.
Welcome, everyone. I would... who wants to volunteer to do the recap?
I can do the recap.
Alright, Dragon will do the recap as the most informed of us.
So I could give you a recap based on the amount of things that Hari would remember in the amount of time that it's taken between the first session and this session.
I'm okay with that.
But that would be... I think we signed some papers or something.
Perfect.
I could give you a.
Okay, see you later, Sean. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out.
That's the best kind of recap.
Yeah, it was fun.
Completely in character is the best. Also, Dragon did enter in Kyle's spells.
Oh,
so
Kyle does have spells.
So you do have spells. Thank her with your life.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, because I have an app it's essentially a spellbook app.
I'm pretty sure Dragon also shows my spells.
Yeah,
it was me and Nick.
Yeah.
You just said I want a lot of fire, and so we gave you just about every fire spell you could have.
I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna use a fire spell and then roll a dice, and then you guys are gonna have to figure out what that means.
Wait, are you wild magic?
I mean, Ryan's gonna have to figure out what that means.
No, Kyle is pyromancy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
because fire.
Yeah, alright.
Anyway, okay.
Okay.
Alright,
anyway,
we want to do the recap now.
Go!
The Z fighters just started their
So last time on the Influencers campaign, inside a Waffles house in Parkersfield,
That's the place, alright.
a bunch of influencers gathered because they had been brought together by a media mogul's son who wanted to do a ghost hunting show starring a bunch of mostly well-known YouTubers. At least 2 of them have over 1 million subscribers. Because we established Juniper has 1 million followers on Tumblr, and then Mari has a golden play button.
Yeah, that's right.
And Kyle also probably has a ton of subscribers, but probably mostly on Twitch.
Yeah, just on Twitch. Kyle doesn't upload shit to YouTube. Fuck YouTube.
You don't even upload the full vlogs?
His team manager does that for him, probably. I kind of...
I have no idea the technical side of any of this, by the way. I just do what I'm told.
Tiffany would have, around, 20,000, maybe. Also, her name actually hasn't come up yet. She's just been like, I'm T.
Yeah.
But she was the first one to arrive, already sitting there and doing more work than probably most of them will do for the rest of the session, and going through stuff and making notes and all that nerd shit.
Called out.
Hey, it's not. Is it a call out if it's true? I mean, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be true to call out, otherwise it's slander.
That's fair.
That's the difference between call out and slander.
So, Dragon, do you have more recap to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
More stuff happened.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was her, and I don't remember what order everyone arrived in because I was still drunk and not paying that much attention. But we had Hari, the Furbolg Bard, / Stoner.
Yeah, I think Hari came in next, and then technically Juniper because she got kicked into the session.
Yeah. The Kender cosplayer Rogue and
Wearing
Kyle.
A Naruto headband. Do you know what Naruto is, or did you just steal it?
Yes and yes. you know Juniper is just like a super weeb anime junkie.
True. Oh, do we want to let Daisy out?
Not really.
And then Kyle, the human sorcerer, who is a professional esports player. We didn't exactly establish what esport. Probably League, though.
Just esports.
Just esports.
You know,
in general.
Yeah.
Esport.
Kyle plays esport.
What's Kyle's highest rank in his main game?
Yes.
Okay, so right now he is just a gold player, but he's definitely working on his
He's hard stuck.
challenger.
Honestly.
Yeah, he's just hard stuck. He
Hard
keeps getting bad teammates.
The algorithm, guys.
Hey
It's the
Ryan.
algorithms.
Hey Ryan.
What?
I know
Yeah.
what Kyle plays.
What does Kyle play?
The game.
And then we spent 20 minutes
but
negotiating contracts,
remember-
or more accurately, I did.
True.
Kyle
The
figured
Go
his
Ryan.
team manager had already looked
No,
over
I'd
it.
say Kyle's probably
the
at
game.
least diamond, or else he wouldn't
Oh,
have any
probably game.
followers.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Hey, well, that's
You-
not true. Ross is
read-
hard stuck plat, so like.
Ross is hard stuck.
Yeah, but Ross.
I
does
love
not-
you, Ross. By the way.
Ross has been higher ranked, and he doesn't claim to be good.
He does not.
Anyway.
He
Anyway.
in fact
Anywho,
vehemently denies being good. Let's be real.
Juniper also just sort of signed the contract without thinking because Juniper doesn't think.
I don't even think Juniper
Juniper
realized
just
she was
does.
signing something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was just handed a pen.
Hari,
and
No,
to his
it was
credit,
Fran.
did read the contract but didn't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it looked fine to me.
Between T and her familiar Ling, who is also her editor,
Nothing bad ever happens.
there was a lot of contract negotiation spent. But anyway,
That was
eventually
like an
we
hour
found
and a half
out.
of contract negotiation.
Yeah, it was a lot of contract
To be
negotiation.
fair, we were all very drunk.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's true.
Not me.
That's true.
you're just naturally drunk though.
It's true. That's accurate.
It's the autism.
Anyway.
And so, anyway, we found out what we'd been called here for was we were going to investigate an old warehouse. The McKinley warehouse. It was about 100 years old. Now I'm just straight reading from my notes because, again, I was hella drunk.
Yep.
Okay,
um,
do you want me to do the recap from here?
Do you remember
Yeah,
what
I
happened?
missed the sober one.
That's true.
Do you remember what happened?
Yes.
I didn't ask if you were sober.
What's up, everyone? It's Kyle here. Last time that we were in the D&D session, I can't think of a way to say that. We had gone to the McKinley warehouse to fight some bitch. And
We had not gone to the McKinley warehouse to fight some bitch. We'd gone there to figure out if it was haunted, because it was
no,
allegedly
there was
haunted.
vampires and there was a bitch. Anyway.
No, there was a discussion
Sure.
of why our patron was not a vampire, because Juniper was convinced, and then T just gave a lecture.
Anyway,
So,
so
right.
after our vampire boss told us to go to this warehouse, we absolutely did it.
Yeah,
And then
why
I
not?
got sent on a shopping trip, and the other Hari and T are currently investigating the warehouse, and
I
my
can't
mother has
remember
Juniper.
if I asked you, but T would have remembered to ask you to pick up, like, made a very specific list
Yes, T
Pick
made
up
a
the
very
stuff.
specific list.
to, for a find familiar ritual spell. Or actually two. Double.
T sent me with a written list of everything
Yeah.
we needed by name.
Yes.
Dude.
By the most specific way she possibly could have.
Yeah, like brand, price.
Yeah. Store.
Do we have that list? What all did you get?
We did not
Um,
write anything down. It was an ambiguous list.
Oh.
It was one of those things, I was too drunk to actually think of what I would specifically need, so a lot of it was just supplies. Although,
So,
the
fun
specific things that I did write down were a
think
healer's
all you
kit, two headlamps for the people in our party without dark vision, a crowbar, water bottles, and coffee, and then, the stuff for the double find familiar spell.
So yeah, I was gonna say I think all you need for find familiar is incense.
No, it's incense, herbs, and charcoals worth
Oh right,
10 gold.
Charcoals are
So it'd be 20 gold worth of that shit. And she would have written down the exact quantities that she needed.
And Kyle's coming back with a fuck ton of snacks too.
I
Hey,
mean,
I'm on
that's
it.
And
prob-
Mountain Dew.
how many varieties of monster is he coming back with?
I don't want to talk about it. So I think that's actually everything that's gone on so far.
Yeah,
You forgot GameStop. I'm at GameStop.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm at GameStop.
with Kyle's mom.
So-
With Kyle's
yeah.
mom.
I don't
Alright.
remember why they went to GameStop.
Because Juniper wanted to go to GameStop and asked to go there on the
Yeah.
way.
Can we go?
Oh yeah, and
Can we
T
go to
did,
GameStop?
she did some research, So first of all, she ritual cast, because she doesn't keep it prepared, detect magic around the warehouse, and did find that it had old latent magic, specifically necromancy. Though, as she explained, that does not tell you as much as most people think it would, because necromancy is a much broader school of study than most people think. She also discovered several things about the McKinley family. The biggest thing is that there was a Minotaur who claimed to be Katrina's like child. Katrina is a human, so it was kind of odd, and he sued for specific properties. I didn't write down. Oh wait, no, I did. House and warehouse.
So
The court case was largely redacted, and he died mysteriously with no investigation. And the properties were awarded to him, but after death, everything was awarded to George, the oldest of the McKinley kids.
I would
The
like
warehouse
to
is
point
now
out,
owned by Wilson Davis, who is old as fuck, and I have his address.
we split the party hardcore. Literally everyone went to a different place.
The first
I
session
went
we
to a
split the party.
museum. T went to the library. Also, I would like to point out that I did in fact keep notes from the first section. Here they are.
What
What
is
does
it?
it say?
It's backwards, isn't it? It says Carter Media Family.
Perfect.
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 Do you want to tell us what that means,
Yeah.
Nick?
Oh, and another important thing was the warehouse's purpose was always kind of dubious. It might have been textiles, but no one was 100% certain.
Highly dubious.
There were strange sounds and lights. An obscure article said that the warehouse land was a sacred site prior to the founders, and it was called Beacon. I'm also partly reading this because I did send Ryan the text because I was like, does our DM even remember this?
I do. It was a word that translated beacon. That was basically it was an old sacred site by some the indigenous tribe which lived around here.
Yeah, and there were a lot of rumors surrounding Katrina, like child bloodbath and a bunch of other dark rites and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
that she used
the
the warehouse
Elizabeth
for.
Bathory shit.
Yeah.
I definitely learned some things about the family,
You sure
the
did.
familia.
Do you remember them?
Did not write them
McKinley-
down.
The
No.
McKinley family.
I don't
I-
remember what things you learned, so
Let's find out in game and start the show.
I feel like I
Yeah,
remember
it was
something
Stuart
about
and Katrina
fishing.
McKinley who were the.
Why do I remember fishing?
fishing?
Fishing definitely had nothing to do with it.
I don't.
God.
That's an excellent question.
If
Nick.
I remember correctly, I think it was like at the museum there was like a fishing exhibit. Just like an exhibit showing some like mannequins fishing around the exhibit of the McKinley family.
That sounds about right.
I don't think it actually had anything to do with the McKinley family.
Alright, let's do this.
I learned that there were like suspicions of lots of sacrifice
Right.
and shit. And also, I don't think I secured the number of the girl at the museum.
No, I
like,
think
I
you
wasn't-
did.
If you, I think you
Did
did.
I?
I think you did,
I think you
yeah.
got a
I
number.
think
yeah,
you got
yeah,
a
that
number.
sounds right.
Definitely should have written it down.
I'm pretty sure it was on the promise to sell her some really good weed, or maybe
yeah,
just
some,
smoke her up.
Green.
Yeah, the green. Okay.
Alright.
One thing that wasn't mentioned that I would like to point out as a DM, because your characters will remember this. John did pull you all into what seemed to be the manager's office in the back of the warehouse or the factory, whatever it was, and revealed a hole.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the wall that was big enough for to go down into. It was kind of tight.
'Cause- yeah,
That's what
I
we need
remembered
headlamps.
that,
Yeah.
but I didn't actually mention it because that's why we needed the headlamps, and that's also why T wanted the stuff for Find Familiar, because she was going to turn Ling into a bat and then turn him back.
Right.
Also, worth noting, just in case anyone wasn't here last time, Hari is 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
This
he's
is-
a big boy.
This is very worth noting.
Kyle is definitely short because I feel like he branches just a little bit towards the side of incel.
Oh, okay.
And incels are almost always short.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Oh wow, we're gonna get some comments.
Juniper is like 4'5".
Oh well, comments are still engagement.
Juniper is also. I mean, Juniper is literally a.
Halfling.
Yeah,
Well.
basically.
Except more annoying.
Wait, hold on.
Possible.
So like,
It's certainly
we've
is.
got T. And
I
we've
just like the
got-
comment down in the.
So let me do some quick math here.
Good job, Toki.
We have T,
Toki, you can't
we
come
have
in, so you're
Ling.
hella tall.
and then we have halfling.
I
Yes.
don't know if he's got the hat for it.
He's got the hat for it.
Technically, Leslie, Juniper is a Kender.
Yeah.
Which are basically half.
Yeah, they're basically halflings. They're basically cousins of halflings.
These are
The
very
halflings don't exist in
Man, I would rock.
In Dragonlance.
Sorry.
But they do in this game.
What Kender are the bastard fusions of dwarves. and
One sec, I'm
gnomes.
gonna
Right,
grab
right.
my fireball before we start in earnest.
That's fair.
I do want to clarify something real quick that I am a little confused about. So Kyle is going shopping at Walmart, right?
Yeah.
Was it
Lowe's.
Walmart? I think it was specifically Target.
Was it?
Maybe. Who knows?
I
Kyle
think it
got
was
dropped off at a
specifically-
grocery store.
Kyle got dropped off at the store.
Yeah, I was thinking it was specifically Target because Kyle wouldn't be caught dead shopping in Walmart.
Great. And
What about just modern day Costco?
by Kyle's mom. And Juniper
It's on
is
Ling
currently
Street.
with Kyle's mom going
At
to
GameStop.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For some goddamn reason.
Kyle's mom took Juniper to GameStop because Juniper asked to go to GameStop. Okay?
Because
Yeah.
Kyle's
Now,
mom is
Juniper
too sweet for this world.
Keeps stealing things, and Kyle's
Right.
mom is seeing that Juniper is stealing things and trying desperately to get Juniper to stop by just
Right.
paying for everything that Juniper
Yeah,
buys,
yeah.
including empty video game cases.
Right.
Well, once she pays for them, they give her the disc.
Yeah, it's true.
Generally.
She probably did not accept the disc.
Hari would play both of those at once. He's that good.
Yeah, fucking
Double
double neck
ukulele.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I'm
But
so into it.